All right, everyone, welcome back to the show. My name is Dan Hafner. Got some very interesting stories to cover with you today. Welcome back to the Tech Bites podcast. There is some interesting stuff going on. There are AI chair actually admits that we are in an AI bubble, but is still optimistic for the future. There's some suspicious activity, AI solutions being developed, which is very, very interesting given especially what happened last week. And then third, there are some drives to maintain soft skills, something I've been preaching a lot on this show because AI is going really, really fast, but the types of soft skills like communication, critical thinking, etc., are never going out of style, and it's even more important than ever to be developing. So we're going to dive into those stories today. As always, thank you all for joining. Really appreciate all of you coming on and contributing and listening to this show. Really warms my heart to just see the viewership going up, the subscribers going up. It's just really, really exciting to see, and we're going to keep producing this awesome content for you guys as we go through all of this. So let me close that. Not sure if you could hear that, but yeah, this show is obviously brought to you by my company, Dapper No Code. If you guys are interested at all in any kind of custom solutions, want to talk more in private with me about any kind of solutions you're looking for, whether it's AI, no code solutions, anything like that, you can get a hold of me at dan@dappernocode.com, and I'd be happy to have a conversation with you. No selling involved. If it comes to that, great. If not, I just love to give advice and love to see people building their own things. It's really, really fun. Okay, so let's dive into. You know what? We're going to start with the soft skills story today. I think that is going to be that's kind of what I want to mainly focus on today. Okay, so the story: AI automation drives global demand for human soft skills. Interesting. Recent research and expert insights emphasize that artificial intelligence is not merely replacing jobs, but complementing human skills, particularly emotional intelligence and creativity, which are becoming increasingly valuable in the AI driven workplace. Studies from MIT and reports like those from Business Insider highlight that AI excels at routine and technical tasks, allowing humans to focus on nuanced and interpersonal interactions, innovation, and strategic oversight. Google's DeepMind CEO, Demis Hassabis, stresses the critical importance of learning how to learn, underscoring the need for continuous adaptation amid rapid AI advancements. Meanwhile, AI is also revolutionizing disability support by providing personalized adaptive tools that enhance autonomy and cognitive sovereignty for people with disabilities. That's amazing. However, the global technology sector, including Indian IT firms, face challenges such as reduced hiring and job redundancies due to AI automation and geopolitical factors like US tariffs, stressing the importance of upskilling to meet evolving demands. Overall, the narrative shifts from fear of job loss to recognizing AI as a transformative force that elevates uniquely human capabilities and necessitates lifelong learning. A freaking men. Like, I have been talking about this for a while now, and this is why I wanted to share this, because I 100% wholeheartedly agree with everything in this article. Okay. Um, I use my own company and my own personal life as an example. I was actually just meeting with a coach of mine yesterday on a call, and I was just as he was walking me through these things and all of these different stuff of like, hey, here's how you want to approach this, here's what you want to think about. Um, I really started, like, I had this epiphany moment of like, wow, um, you know, AI has truly allowed me to produce so many more things at a faster rate. Just produce, you know, prototypes, reports, sales presentations, slide decks, you name it. Like, there are so many things, email responses, email marketing campaigns, whatever. This podcast, like it, it, it's it's amazing how these things have worked. So, like, again, for an example, like for me inside of my software development business, right? What are the human things that I can do, right? That like software is better at, right? That's where we've transitioned to this AI prototyping type of engagement, where if somebody comes to us and they say, hey, we want to build this this tool or this platform or this app or whatever. What we've started to do is implement what we call an exploration milestone, where we actually take like a relatively uh, generic set of requirements. Okay, we kind of have an idea of what this wants to do. And for a small fee, we'll actually just go and prototype this. So there's actually some skin in the game for both us and for the client. And we're able to go and fulfill that using a lot of new AI tools that, honestly, yeah, it does a lot of the work, but it just produces something that's so much better than it would take me 2 weeks, or I'd have to go hire, someone on Fiverr, or pay a big team or a team member a lot of money to be able to do these things. Um, but it's because I've learned and I've taught myself how to prompt engineer these things. I've become way more advanced than any of the people that I work with, especially not advanced in terms of everyone in the world, but the people that I work with and my clients, that I know, okay, here's where they want to go, and based on my experience of everything that I've been doing, here's like the detailed prompt. Like if someone's like, hey, I need an app to do this and this, right? They have a 300 character prompt. For me, I'll spend half an hour typing in the stupid prompt into Chat GPT or to our AI, development or in prototyping platforms, that just creates a radically better prototype in a radically better thing that we can then go to them and then boom, like it's instant, like, yes, that is what I'm looking for, or at least it's 95% of what they're looking for, right? So, I mean, that is just one small example of you know what's the difference there. The AI exists and it's powerful for it's democratized, it's available for you and it's available for me. The only difference in the output is the level of thinking and cognitive human ability that went into that. The input, garbage in, garbage out, quality in, quality out, right? So man, that's so awesome. And there's a bunch of different examples, even just like different proposals and contracts we come up with. Like there are so many things that used to take me so long that I've now just learned to outsource to AI, to lean on AI. And I think there's more, it's really more of this hybrid approach, right? There's more of, you don't just totally trust AI to do everything and automate everything. I'm not on that bandwagon yet. But if you learn how to give AI the inputs that you're looking for, and you learn to then, okay, I need to edit this thing, I need to analyze it, I need to put my humanity into this and tweak this and guide this and drive it, so to speak, to the result that you're looking for. I mean, that frees up your time and your mind and your bandwidth to focus on so many more powerful things, and let the AI do 95% of the work. Like let that do the bulk of it. I always use this analogy of a duck on water, right? What do you see when you see a duck swimming across a pond or floating across a pond? Are they swimming? Is a duck swimming? I mean, I mean, they're kind of like canoeing, right? Like it's kind of like half above, half below. I don't know. That's an interesting thought for the day. Is a duck actually swimming, or are they paddling? I guess you'd call it paddling. I don't know. That's a really weird, super weird tangent to think of. I never thought of that. Anyway, getting back to this analogy, a duck, right? You have the duck above the water, which looks and appears calm and appears, they usually have their wings tucked in. They turn, they look, they do whatever. But as they're moving, what's going on underneath the water? Right? Their legs are just going a mile a minute, or maybe they're going slow or whatever. But that's the motor that's going on. Like a boat could be the same kind of analogy, right? The AI is the duck feet. It's the it's the paddle that's moving things along, where you and your humanity, your business, your personality, your approach to things is the duck above the water that looks like, okay, boom, I got this together, I got this, we have this planned, we have this going on. Um, and that is, I think, the best analogy that I can come up with, of like using the AI to be your motor and your engine that's paddling underneath, while you sit on top and look professional, and you look and you're able to think at higher levels and do these types of things. And I always remember, like, I go back to when I was in college, and I got out of college in a couple of years. And I'm like, what did I actually learn? Like, I don't remember a lot of what I learned in college. And I think the big thing that I took away from it was you learn how to think, like learning how to learn, just like in that article says, like learning how to learn, learning how to think is I think that the highest leverage skill you can adapt for yourself. Like it's not just learning how to sell and being in business. It's not just learning how to market, learning how to influence people, right? Learning how to think is the bedrock of all of those things. Like, how do I think critically? How do I think differently? How do I think about these things? And this is, this kind of goes back to what I've talked about before. It was like, if you outsource all your thinking to ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever, then you stop learning those soft skills. You stop learning that type of stuff. I think communication is also a very, very important skill. It's just like me being on this podcast. This podcast I've been doing for years. And this is one of the things that has led me to be such an effective communicator, to be so effective on my sales calls and my client satisfaction stuff, like talking to people. And think about it, like when I'm doing these podcasts, I'm either doing solo episodes or I'm doing interviews, talking directly to my guests, right? And I think learning to think and I think communication are like one of like the two bedrock soft skills that you can apply yourself to at all times. Like I'm to this day myself, I'm still working on my communication. I'm working on how to think. How do I add AI as a brain that like okay, I have these high level thoughts and then I could spend all this time going down the rabbit hole deeper and deeper and deeper in my mind. But now there's so many things like AI, there's so many things like ChatGPT that you can then, okay, I have this big idea. And if I brain dump it into here, I can get way more granular with those thoughts using and it's so much faster. And it just loops that and it closes that thinking loop so much faster. And yeah. Anyway, I really wanted to highlight that story because I think it's really powerful. And just to not lose sight of like you should have soft skills. Like you should still work on those things. Okay. That is story number one. Story number two, we're going to get into. I mean, this is kind of really interesting. I saw this because, we all kind of heard the news last week of what happened with Charlie Kirk and everything, and this was a story that really made me like think like, wow, like this is amazing because it's a really good use case, but it's also a really good example for someone that might be listening to this show that's like thinking of going into this space because it's a really cool solution. So the story. Ohio launches AI powered app for suspicious activity reporting. Interesting. All right, what's this story about? Ohio Homeland Security has launched Safeguard Ohio, a pioneering AI powered app designed to enable the public to anonymously report suspicious activities and potential threats of violence. The app allows users to upload videos, audio, and photos while interacting with AI prompts that encourage detailed information submission, enhancing the quality of tips for law enforcement. That's freaking crazy. Submitted information is instantly routed to the statewide Terrorism Analysis and Crime Center, where analysts review and notify appropriate agencies. The app supports reporting in 8 categories, including drug activity, human trafficking, terrorism, school threats, and crimes against children, and is accessible in 10 different languages. Officials highlight its appeal to younger users who prefer digital reporting over phone calls, potentially improving public safety through increased and more detailed intelligence. However, concerns have been raised about privacy, false accusations, and the transparency of AI decision making in threat assessment, with developers assuring safeguards are in place to mitigate misuse. Okay, well, that last piece we can kind of assume, like, we've heard about safeguards before. What are the safeguards actually looking like? So I'd take that with a giant grain of salt. But overall, this is amazing. This is such a cool use case, right? Like what has been happening? Like you saw it with, um, I think there was a video posted before the assassination on Charlie Kirk happened where somebody had noticed somebody on the roof, right? If you guys remember seeing that video. And then if you go back to the assassination attempt of Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, which is actually only like 30 minutes from me, which is crazy. Um, there was video of people that had seen the I think it was Thomas Crooks, I think was his name, on the roof or climbing up on the roof, and people were shouting. And you remember that video as well too. Um, Obviously those are two examples where like obviously the act is about to happen. So like what kind of thing would that, like obviously this app is like, hey, you submit this thing, it's routed to a crime center and analysis place, and then they have to get in contact. So there's a couple of different like stages this has to go through. So I don't know, like, will this be effective in stopping terrorist attacks, assassinations, different things like that, school shootings? I don't know, I'd have to, I'm sure like you can't stop those things once they're already started. But um, like think about the evolution of this. Like somebody saw a solution, like or a problem first, and was like, you know what? There's these people that notice things. There's these people that see things that are going on. It's like crowdsourcing this at a crazy level. And then with the AI capabilities in there, I also think that is definitely a concern that they brought up that I would really warrant. You know, what's to say the AI doesn't just say, you know what, that guy's sitting on a roof, that's not a threat, that's okay, it's probably the Secret Service, the president's going to be in town. And then you're like, well, no, this guy's just a political commentator. That's not you're making that up, you know. So I'd be very interested to see. Yeah, those are the two biggest concerns I think, is like the AI hallucination rate, and then obviously the safeguards that are in place of people just wanting to like they have it out for somebody. Which in this day and age is a very valid concern because of the cancel culture of all of these different things that somebody could realize like, hey, I could actually get this person in real trouble by submitting this kind of thing. And I think that's obviously that's why these safeguards and these routing things are in place, where there'd be professional people on the other end that would be like, okay, like this is not a credible threat, or something that's like, oh, this is actually a credible threat. You know what I mean? And again, that's kind of going back to our last story of ding, 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 soft skills, critical thinking, looking at things and not just taking it like, oh my God, we got another threat here, blah, blah, blah. Like being like, I'm not sure about this. Like, let's look at this, kind of be a critical thinker about that. So, man, what an opportunity. I think if this proves to be successful, this is definitely something that should be scaled up. This should be something that should be put in, even scaled down to be like at a school level or at a local level, not just at a state level. Like you could obviously scale this up and use this in other states, maybe at the federal level, those kinds of like scaling up. But you could also, this is a really interesting like solution that could be scaled down, right? Where um, a single company could have something like this, or a single local municipality could have something like this. A school district could have something like this. Um, that's an interesting use case for this kind of thing as well. But yeah, I just wanted to highlight this story, one, because it was very interesting, very salient issue, obviously. But it was just very interesting to me that somebody was like, oh, like there's obviously all these crowdsourced things, there's all these examples of this. What if there was an AI powered solution that helped do this? So that's just like, I love that. I love to highlight examples of this, of like, that is a really good recognition of, hey, um here's a problem, and then here's a solution that we could provide to this. And clearly, I don't know if the agency built this themselves or if they contracted someone to build it, but well done. Well done on a great idea for a very good use case application. Very, very cool thing. So yeah, wanted to highlight that one. And then all right, so let's get back into the general AI conversation here. We've been talking a lot about the AI bubble. Are we in an AI bubble? Is it bursting? Is it still growing? What the heck is going on with this? So let's hear directly from OpenAI here. So the OpenAI chair, Brett Taylor, states AI bubble like the dot-com bubble, but he's optimistic on innovation. All right, so let's read through this story, see what we have here. Brett Taylor, OpenAI board chair and CEO of the AI startup Sierra, acknowledges that the artificial intelligence sector is currently experiencing a bubble reminiscent of the dot-com era, but remains optimistic about its long-term transformative potential. He draws parallels between the current AI hype and the late 1990s internet boom, noting that while many companies and investors may suffer losses, The underlying technology will drive substantial economic value and innovation, much like the internet did after its bubble burst. Taylor highlights the rise of AI agents, autonomous systems that can handle complex tasks such as customer service, which could revolutionize enterprise operations and create trillion-dollar opportunities in software as a service markets. Yeah, those are already happening. Despite the speculative excess and risks, he believes this phase of froth is beneficial for accelerating technological progress and fostering experimentation that leads to enduring companies. Taylor's perspective aligns with OpenAI CEO Sam Altman's warning that significant financial losses are inevitable, but coexist with profound advancements that will reshape the economy. Overall, Taylor suggests that the AI bubble, while volatile, is a necessary stage in the maturation of a transformative technology sector. Interesting. Interesting story. So here you have a guy who's clearly on the board of OpenAI, has his own AI startup that is kind of going along the same lines of Sam Altman and maybe some other people in the space, being like, yeah, dude, we're definitely in a bubble, definitely in an AI bubble. And I've heard this, kind of compared. It's very analogous to that, .com bubble of the '90s, which honestly I was a little young for. I was born in '90s, so I'm not. I was kind of young for that, and I was never really into computers till like my 20s. So I don't really remember a lot of what happened with the .com bubble, but it sounded like it was, it was definitely a big deal. It was definitely a big bubble that just got super inflated. Then I remember everyone's like, well, you got to go online. You got to have your business online. You got to have a website, right? And there's kind of like that technology adoption curve where there's people that get in way early, there's early adopters, then there's kind of like mid stage, then there's people that are late to the game. I don't really think there's very few businesses I know of that today that don't have online presences, unless you're in certain sectors. Then they just are very weird, and just there's still old school people that are very against um, even online functions. I'm in a golf league that I golf on weekly, and you cannot book tee times directly on their website. There are still some golf courses out there that are like this. And I asked the guy, I was like, why can't you do that? You have to call in for tee times. Well, I don't want to get hacked. Like, what? That's why you're willing to give up that much extra business just because you're like afraid to get hacked? It's like, it's called passwords, bro. It's called security. Like there's solutions out there for this. But I think that time is obviously not going to last forever. I think any older people that are in business, if they have not already adopted websites or AI or any kind of this stuff, um, I don't want to sound morbid, but like they won't be the business owners there forever. There will be a time in 10 to 20 years when, at least the majority, if not all of, business owners across this country, maybe we're talking 50 years from now, where we're all kind of this generation, of my generation, the millennials, maybe even Gen X, even younger than that, who are, ready to adopt stuff and ready to really just be like, hey, you know what? We got to do this. We got to jump on this bandwagon. We got to go. Um, and there's a big opportunity there. And that's why, like, I'm in this space of no code solutions and AI and all this different stuff. I know that I'm very well positioned to be able to take advantage of these things like this. But when in terms of the bubble, um, yeah, I think it's part of a natural phase of kind of anything, where there's going to be a huge inflation, a lot of hype at first, just like the .com era was. And then I think things kind of overall like even out. Um, am I an AI doomsdayer? If you listen to the show, I'd say no, I'm not on the bandwagon that AI is just going to destroy the world and eat humanity alive. I'm kind of more in the camp of I really think that AI will be a very disruptive force over the next, as soon as 2 years, but also into the next 20 to 30 years and beyond. And again, it just goes, that's why I highlighted the first story at first, because it just comes down to like, there are certain soft skills as humans that will never not be marketable. like that will never not be useful. I know that's a double negative, but I'm saying like if you know how to communicate, if you know how to critically think, if you know how to organize with different, and I'm talking about like organizing people, organizing structures and outcomes with people. I mean, that will always be in demand. Like that will always be in demand. I come back to the software development world like that I'm in, and and it's very easy for me to go down this rabbit hole of like I will be obsolete in a matter of time, right? When you look at these new things like Replit that comes out with these AI agents and Codex that OpenAI just dropped, where you can it'll code something for 7 hours, right? It'll just literally have an entire workday and build something that's really cool. Um, However, AI is still way behind in the world of solution implementation and problem identification. I think problem identification is the biggest one, right? Would AI be able to suggest the last story we came up with that, hey, what if there was a tool that could recognize these people who see different threats happening in real time and submit it to the right? Like, could AI actually come up with something like that? I don't know. Probably not right now. Like that, some of these things still take human intelligence. They take human insight and intuition. Remember, there's a reason it's called artificial intelligence. It's meant to model how our human brain works. It's not exact. We still don't know a lot of how our human mind works. We have the most super, we have, we still, I think people don't realize like your brain is the most advanced computer still to this date on the face of the earth. Like the most powerful supercomputer is still not as powerful as your brain. I know that's a controversial statement probably when it comes to quantum computing and all these other things, but I still firmly believe that your brain as designed by God is way more powerful than anything. Like there's a reason we created these things, right? Because we have this capacity. We were given and endowed with this capacity to create and to think like this and to have this free will. And that's a truly amazing capability that I think like more people need to tap into. And this world would be a far, far better place for that, if that were the case. So yeah, I think this is a very interesting story. Like, you know, definitely acknowledging that there might be some disruption, there might be some job loss, there might be a lot of things. I was actually just looking at watching a YouTube video the other day of like kind of someone talking through all of the upcoming like job displacement stuff, and the whole curve, and it's very scary when you look at the numbers and you think through, okay, if you know 30% of the existing workforce is displaced because of AI. Like, it's not like those people just get wiped off the face of the earth. Like, they're still existing. They're still there. But like, what are they doing? Like, how could they be repurposed and retrained into different jobs, into different careers, right? It happened with the farming industry, the agriculture industry many, many years ago when there was all these machines that came along and tractors and mass production tools. That obviously made a lot of, uh-oh, we're losing signal here. I think we're still recording. My video is messing up, but um, like all these people that used to be farmers had to be kind of had to retrain themselves, figure out what am I going to do now? How am I going to make money? What am I going to do? And that's kind of what's coming with AI in some shape or form. So, well, I guess I'll have to wrap this up. Looks like my video's freezing up. I'm not sure what's going on. I don't even know if this is recording. It says it's still recording. But anyway, I appreciate all of you joining the show. As always, please be sure to subscribe and like the episode and the channel on YouTube if you find value in this. And please subscribe to the podcast so you get alerts when these come out. We've got a very special guest joining us on the next episode coming out Friday. Very excited for that. Until then, obviously you guys can connect. And I think my recording stopped, but you can connect with me at dappernocode.com, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Thanks for tuning in to Tech Bites, your go-to show for software business and technology. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay updated with our latest episodes, insights, and stories. Hungry for more? Dive deeper into the world of no-code by visiting dappernocode.com. Your journey to building amazing software without coding skills starts there. Connect with like-minded creators and unlock a world of resources tailored just for you. Subscribe now. Explore Dapper No Code and let's innovate together.